Would you care for some coffee?
Sure.
What about a smoke?
I guess it doesn't matter if Maman is here right there. Sure.
Your mother's friend should be here soon for the vigil. How old was your mother?
Fairly old. I feel as if all of her friends are all judging me.
That isn't true. Just see that one is just staring because she was very close to your mother.
The walk in the countryside should be nice. I mean, if it weren't for the Maman.
It will be nice. And just so you know, Thomas Perez will also be attending the funeral. People used to say he was your mother's fiance.
Okay.
He and your mother used to walk down to the village together.
I hope it wasn't as hot as it is today. This is nearly inhuman.
We're almost there.
Well, I must be catching the train back to Algiers right now. This tastes bitter.
Why do you look so sad? You've got your funeral face on.
You're so beautiful.
I'll be down in a sec.
It's such a beautiful day out.
Good morning, old man. Good morning, mademoiselle. The second one from the left is my man.
What's going on?
The Arabs are after Raymond.
We should get going.
Hey, they're not following us.
For time. Yours isn't the most important case of the session. Right after you, there's a parricide coming up.
aunt's funeral, and to prove, we must ask you if you felt any sadness that day.
The question caught me by surprise, but nevertheless, I answered that I had pretty much lost the habit of analyzing myself, and that it was hard for me to tell him what he wanted to know. I probably did love my man, but that didn't mean anything. It all seemed like a game to me.
That's enough. We're done here.
On my way out, I was going to shake their hands, but just in time, I remembered that I had just killed a man.
Can you just say you had feelings that day and just held them back?
No, because it's not true.
Things are going to get very nasty for you.
I have never seen a soul as hardened as yours. The criminals who have come before you have always wept at the sight of this image of suffering, so why not you?
Gentlemen of the jury, the day after his mother's death, this man was out swimming, starting up a dubious liaison, going to the movies, a comedy, for laughs. I have nothing further to say.
Come now, my client is on trial for burying his mother or for killing a man.
Indeed, I accuse this man of burying his mother with crime in his heart.
I now realize things are not going well for me. Since it was back to my cell that I went to wait for the next day, as if familiar paths traced in summer skies could lead as easily to prison as to this sleep of innocence.
I plead guilty on behalf of my client.
My fate was being decided without anyone so much asking for my opinion.
I will prove it to you, gentlemen, and I will prove it in two ways. First, in the blinding clarity of the facts, and second, in the dim light cast by the mind of this criminal soul. I'd like to remind everyone of Meursault's insensitivity, of his ignorance, of taking Marie home to be his mistress, and then later he had provoked Raymond's adversaries at the beach, and Raymond was wounded. He had asked him to give him the gun, and intended to go back to the beach alone. He had shot the Arab as he planned, and waited to make sure he had done the job right. He fired 4 more shots, calmly, point blank, thoughtfully, to make sure he was dead, and there you have it, gentlemen. This is no ordinary murder, no thoughtless act for which you might find mitigating circumstances. This man is intelligent. He knows how to answer.
I didn't feel much remorse for what I had done, and I would have liked to explain that I had never been able to truly feel remorse for anything. I didn't intend to kill the Arab. It was all because of the sun.
And here is a letter from Meursault's good friend stating that he is an honest man, a steadily employed, tireless worker, loyal to the firm that employed him, well-liked and sympathetic to the misfortunes of others. Jury, surely you would not send an honest, hard-working man to his death because he lost control of himself for one moment.
Thank you for your final thoughts. I will return with the final decision.
While Judge was thinking about the final decision, I forgot about Mary. My heart felt nothing, and I couldn't even return her smile.
He is guilty of murder and to have his head cut off in the public square in the name of the French people.
I told you I'm not talking to him. All I wanted to do was escape the machinery of justice. The sky is all I really see, but they want me to talk to this chaplain? Why didn't I pay more attention to all those other execution cases? I never thought I'd be in this position, that's why. They always talked about debt owed to society. Do I now owe that debt? According to them, it has been paid. Nothing will let me be free of this debt. It was people just like me who sent me away. That's why I can't see this as a serious decision. One time, my father went to an execution, even though it made him sick to his stomach. When he came back home, he spent the morning throwing up. I didn't understand why, but now I realize there's nothing more important than an execution. In reality, is the only thing a man can truly be interested in. When I got out there, I will go watch every execution I can. Why a guillotine? That means I am a patient without any chance. The guillotine is a tacit argument. It's a tacit agreement that no one can go back on. The hope of it failing only meant that they would just change the blade. so I had to hope that it would work the first time. To make it worse, the guillotine is on ground level. It sits on the same ground I walk on. There's no scaffolding to take me up to the sky. Instead, I have to approach it like I approach another person. Where's the light? What was that? My man had always found something to be happy about, and as the sky turned red, I knew she was right. Life isn't worth living. I really knew life didn't matter. It doesn't matter if I die now or 30 years from now. Men and women will go on living for thousands of years, but I am still the one dying. We are all going to die, and it's obvious that when and how doesn't matter. My appeal was rejected. I'm just afraid. It's natural.
My friend.
But don't talk to me like we all die. This is different.
It certainly is, but eventually we will all die, and you will still be faced with the issue of how to deal with it.
I will deal with it just as I am dealing with it now.
Have you no hope? Do you truly believe nothing remains when you die?
Nothing remains. And I still don't know what sin is. I just know that I'm guilty.
Every stone here sweats with suffering.
I've been looking at the stones, searching for a face that was as bright as the sun, but I realized I was searching in vain.
I refuse to believe that you have not wished for another life at one point or another.
Of course I have, but wishing for that isn't like wishing to be able to swim faster. It's not going to happen. I just want a life where I could remember this life.
I will pray for you, but please call me Father, not Monsieur. Why are you calling me Monsieur, son?
Because you're not my father. You think you just know everything, don't you? You think you know everything, but nothing you know matters. At least I am sure of my death and know what is waiting for me. Nothing has mattered. This life has been absurd, and there has been a dark wind has leveled everything that has been offered to me in life. Everything is privileged in some way. Why would it matter if you were accused of murder and then executed for not crying at your mother's funeral? Nobody had the right to cry over Maman. What are our human rights anyway? But now I'm happy. My blind rage has now allowed me to be happy. I just hope that there will be a large crowd of spectators the day of my execution, and that I am greeted with cries of hate.